Hello, I'm John Rowe, Mayor of the City of Portsmouth, and we're having a virtual City Council meeting of the Portsmouth City Council. And I just pounded the gavel to call the meeting to order. And Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Battle,
Present.
Mr. Clark,
Here.
Mr. Glover,
John Rowe, Mayor of the City of Portsmouth, and we're having a virtual City Council meeting.
Mr. Glover.
Council. I just
He did?
Here.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Lucas Burke, Mrs. Lucas Burke, Mr. Moody,
Here.
Ms. Simmons,
Here.
Mayor Rowe.
Here. Madam Clerk, we have 6 participants. Is that what I understand?
Yes, sir, so far.
Okay. On March the 12th, 2020, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam issued Executive Order number 51 in response to the COVID-19 crisis, and he declared within the Commonwealth a state of emergency, a health emergency. Also on March the 12th, our city manager, Dr. Lydia Patton, declared a state of emergency in Portsmouth in response to the COVID-19 crisis. On March the 30th, Governor Northam issued Executive Order number 55, which is the stay-at-home order, in which he's asked all Virginians to stay at home unless you absolutely have to go out. And so therefore, based on the emergency situation, this is why we're having a virtual meeting today. This meeting is being streamed on Facebook Live, and it will be available as a video for viewing later also on YouTube. Now, as a historical note, the city clerk keeps the minutes, written minutes of all the council meetings, and the very first set of minutes is for a council meeting that took place in 1796. That's 224 years ago. So this is our first virtual meeting in 224 years. And so if I'll ask my colleagues on council to bear with me and the public also as we launch our first ever virtual meeting. Now, the agenda for this meeting was published last Monday, April the 6th, 2020. And on the advice and the opinion of the city attorney, we can only discuss at this meeting those items which relate to the state of emergency. Now, we also placed notices online and at the city's website and on our cable television station that we would take public comments on the agenda through Monday, April the 13th, which was yesterday. And we did receive one letter. It's an April 10 letter from our Commissioner of Revenue, Frankie Edmondson. And I think that all members of council have received a copy, electronic copy of that letter, and we'll make that letter part of the public record. Commissioner of Revenue Edmondson supports the actions of the council adopting the 2 ordinances that are before us today. Madam Clerk, did we have any other public comments?
No, sir.
The clerk has indicated that we have no other public comments for us to consider. Now, we'll conduct today's meeting in our normal fashion. which is we'll follow Robert's rules of order. We'll consider a motion and then a second. When you're not speaking, please mute your mic so that we don't pick up any background noise. And once we get the motion and the second, we'll have discussion. And to make this orderly, the city clerk will call the name of each council member in alphabetical order. And if you don't have any comments, it's fine to say no comment, and she'll go to the next person. But if you do have a comment about the item that's before us, that's your chance to provide all of us those comments. Any questions on going forward? At the end of the meeting, I will ask Dr. Patton to give us an update on the COVID-19 status here in Portsmouth. Any questions on the procedure? All right, we have two items on our agenda, items 20-104 and item 20-105, and we'll take them in that order. Madam Clerk, will you read the caption of the ordinance that's related to item 20-104?
Yes, sir. An ordinance confirming and ratifying the declaration of local emergency by the Portsmouth Director of Emergency Management on March 12, 2020, in response to COVID-19 and further implementing emergency procedures to ensure the continuity of local government.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
That
Second.
is Councilman Clark. Who's the second?
Bill Moody.
Bill Moody. We have a motion that's been duly made by Councilman Clark and seconded by Councilman Moody. We're ready for our discussion. Again, we'll do this in alphabetical order. Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Mr. Battle?
No discussion.
Mr. Clark?
No comments.
Mr. Glover?
No comments.
Mrs. Lucas Burke? Okay. Mr. Moody?
No comment.
Ms. Simmons?
No comments.
Mayor Rowe?
No comment. With no comments, we're ready for the consideration of the question, which is to adopt the motion. And this will be a roll call vote. And Madam Clerk, will you call the vote roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Battle?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mr. Glover?
Yes.
Mrs. Lucas Burke?
Yes.
Mr. Moody?
Yes.
Ms. Simmons?
Yes.
Mayor Rowe?
Yes. And Madam Clerk, that motion carried, is that correct?
Yes, sir. 7-0.
Okay, so this ordinance has been adopted. The next item on our agenda is item 20-105, which is the consideration of the adoption of another ordinance. And Madam Clerk, will you read the caption of that ordinance, please?
Yes, sir. An ordinance providing relief from penalties and interest for late remittance of transient occupancy and lodging, meals, admissions, and personal property taxes due to COVID-19 pandemic.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. So that we can put this matter before us for our consideration, is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
So moved.
We
Second.
have Councilwoman Simmons making the motion, seconded by Councilman Bill Moody. We're ready for discussion. Will you follow the same format as the clerk calls your name? Please either say that you've got comments or you don't.
Mr. Battle,
No comments.
Mr. Clark,
No comments.
Mr. Glover,
No comments.
Mrs. Lucas Burke, Mrs. Lucas Burke, Mr. Moody,
No comments.
Ms. Simmons,
No comments.
Mayor Rowe.
No comments. With
I
no
was
comments.
muted, but I have no comments.
Oh, okay. That was that was Vice Mayor Lisa
Yes.
Lucas Burke. Thank you. All right. We've had our discussion on the motion, and the motion is to adopt this ordinance. We're ready for the question. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Battle,
Yes.
Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Mr. Glover,
Yes.
Mrs. Lucas Burke,
Yes.
Mr. Moody,
Yes.
Ms. Simmons,
Yes.
Mayor Rowe.
Yes. This completes our agenda, and before we adjourn, I'm going to call on Dr. Patton to give us a brief status report on the COVID-19 virus in Portsmouth.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of City Council, each day, Dr. Lauren James, who's our Director of Public Health, provides an update at the end of the day. Thusly, I will share the update for today. As of today, our case count in the city of Portsmouth is 59 that are tested positive and living in our city. Our communicable disease team is expanding, and we're continuing to contact positive cases and trace their contacts. Across the state, the largest amount of affected citizens are at nursing homes. Portsmouth Health Department has supplied all nursing homes within the city of Portsmouth limits with supplies if needed, and we are preparing to provide further support if needed. Dr. James has developed her team a new document entitled Slow the Spread that will start being posted and in the hands of our citizens electronically on tomorrow, allowing citizens to be educated on how to follow up on their contacts, which is sometimes a preferred option. It is important that citizens exposed to positive cases know that they are exposed and they can self-quarantine or isolate and take appropriate actions to slow the spread. Best, Dr. Lauren James, Portsmouth Public Health Department Health Director. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. To make sure that no one has a question, or if you have a question, we'll do the same procedure. I'll ask the clerk to call each member of council's name in alphabetical order on whether or not you have a question to Dr. Patton about her statement that she just made. Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. Mr. Battle,
No questions.
can't hear. Just 1 second, please. Mr. Battle,
Dr. Pat, do we have a hotline that we could call in when we suspect that someone might be ill and possibly having reactions from the virus and not knowing, a number where citizens could call in and say, Dr. Patton, there's a gentleman and he's kind of homeless and he's been kind of sickly, and we have a referral where we could get someone out to possibly
can you hear?
test and link them to treatment.
Councilman Battle, we're having trouble with your audio. Could you
Right.
call Dr. Patton with your question, please?
Will do. Will
Okay,
do.
thank you. Madam Clerk?
Yes, sir. Mr. Clark?
No questions.
Mr. Glover?
No questions.
Mrs. Lucas-Burke?
I have no questions, but I'd like to provide the team with an update. I was on a call with Mr. Gil Bland from the Urban League today, and of course, Ed Bland from Portsmouth Redevelopment Housing Authority. They're going to be testing at-risk persons in our community with, of course, our seniors, our public housing, and our homeless population. So they will begin that testing on Friday, and they're working with Dr. Lauren James from the Health Department.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Moody?
No questions.
Ms. Simmons?
Thank you, Dr. Patton. No further questions.
Mayor Rowe?
I don't have any questions for Dr. Patton. This concludes our agenda, and to our public, please make your health and the health of your family your number one priority. Continue to do your part by staying apart. We can get through this. We can stop the spread of this virus. And I want to thank everyone for their patience. I especially want to thank, though, Daniel Jones, the city's Director of Information Technology, for making this virtual meeting both a reality and a success. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.